Looking at the Montreal Canadiens plus 1.5 at minus 180. Again, unbettable for me in that market. Toronto laying the 1.5 at plus 146. So if I like Toronto, I've got to believe they can cover that puck line if I want to bet this game. This total sitting at 6.5. Now the juice to the total is sitting on the under at minus 142. And I do think this is a reflection of what we saw out there on the ice yesterday. Yesterday's games out there on the ice really were those low scoring games. We didn't see those totals going over. So those are your odds. That is where we're sitting with this game. As we get into this matchup here, you guys, this is how we see these teams unfold the season. They start off in this rivalry game versus each other. And this is one of the most watched rivalries out there. I love to watch these two teams versus each other. Now, there are some new faces. We know Mitch Marner off to Vegas from Toronto. So he is no longer part of that core four, but there has been, Matthew Knives. I really love what this young kid brought last season. So we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about line combos, and we're going to look here at the game as a whole. So looking at goaltending first, we'll try to start breaking these games down by looking at goaltenders, looking at players to watch, and then where I'm going to go with these bets. So goaltending wise, you got Sam Montague confirmed in net for the Montreal Canadiens. Now looking at Sam Montague last season, he went 22-11-5 with a 2.59 goals against average and a 910 save percentage. He was stellar in some games between the pipes and other games not so great. Now, one thing to remember is how he faced Toronto in that first game last year. He was insanely on fire. 48 saves in the shutout behind the Caulfield power play goal. It was a thing of beauty for the Montreal Canadiens to start the year. And you look at the Montreal Canadiens, it's a team that was able to make the postseason last year. They have high hopes going into this season. So last season, they went 4-1 in round one versus the Washington Capitals. So they were taken out, but that was their first time in the postseason since 2021. This is a team that is young and hungry and has every ability to run it back. And I do think they're going to be able to run it back this year. We're going to need the best out of Sam Montague, and then newly acquired, Noah Dobson over from the Islanders. He was on a down season last year. We're going to need him to step back up to form. The Noah Dobson that we know can really make an impactful plays on defense, if I can talk. So we need Noah Dobson to really step up. When we look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, they were stellar at home. 27-13-1 at home last season, while Montreal was only 17-19-5 on the road. Toronto went 3-1 against the Montreal Canadiens last season, and the over was a huge trend. You guys saw those over trends, 6-2 in the last meeting to the over. Now, we know the storyline for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The last time they hosted the Cup, does anyone know this number? I'll let you guys sit on it for a minute. The last time the Toronto Maple Leafs hosted the Cup, I've got the year here for you, Toronto fans. I know that you know exactly when it was. If anyone else can tell me, let me know in the comments. But last season, they got kicked in the second round by the Florida Panthers. So heartbreaking. It was game 7, you guys. That was a series, quite the series out there. But one thing that we saw is, Austin Matthews still really didn't make that impact during the postseason that we would expect out of such a highly talented player out there on the ice. Now, we talked about Mitch Marner is gone. He headed off to Vegas. So the players to watch in this game for the Toronto Maple Leafs, you've got William Nylander. He returns as the top scorer out there for this team. 45 goals and 84 points for the Leafs last season. You got Austin Matthews. He had an injury-riddled season last year. He's looking to have that big bounce back. And then you got Matthew Knives. This young kid was so impactful, especially in the playoffs. And I do think he is going to make that impact for them. But you also have another player that has stepped up into that core four. So stepping up into the core four, you have Marcelli here. And I do think Marcelli is going to be hugely impactful. He's going to be on that top line. You're going to see the top line. And let's see. I just want to make sure I got it exactly for you guys. So on the left wing, we will be seeing, let me just see if I can share this here with you guys. No, it's going to be awful. I'm terrible at sharing screens. I wish I could. So your top line will be Matthew Knives. Actually, we'll try. Let's give it a shot, you guys. Let's try this. Because if I can share these screens with you guys, it's going to be so much easier for you guys to follow along. So looking at this top line, there you go. Off of Daily Faceoff. Love using the site to look at those lines. You got Matthew Knives on the left wing there. You got Austin Matthews and Marcelli. That is your top line. Bobby McCann, John Tavares, William Nylander on that second line. The power behind these lines. Your third line, your player you really want to watch is Max Domi out there. I love the strength of him as well. So then your defensive pairing, you got Morgan Riley, Brandon Carlos on those defensive pairings. And then you're looking at Chris Tanev on that defensive line as well. And your top power play units, Matthew Knives, John Tavares, William Nylander, Morgan Riley, and Austin Matthews on that top power play unit, Bobby McCann, Roy Domi, Ekman Larson, and Marcelli on that second power play unit. This is going to be strength of this team. So I do think you look here at some line combos for these teams. This is going to be a solid way to look at them in this matchup. So looking at the line combos, when we look at that top line with Matthew Knives, with Austin Matthews, those are going to be your top goal scorers. You look here at Marcelli coming into this lineup. He is a pass first player out there. You've seen him over the years. He passes that puck, and then Austin Matthews and Matthew Knives are going to get those goals. Marcelli for the assist you can look at. If your book has it, a lot of books don't have it listed. It's frustrating as we get into the hockey season what bets we can and can't get out there on the ice. So looking at Marcelli for this one, you can get him for the point today. Looking at him for the points coming in at plus 112, you guys. And I think that is a great way to go. Now, you can take those line combos, though, and I played around with it. I was looking at Matthew Knives and Austin Matthews for the point combo. Their point combo is still too juiced at minus 134. But if you do think you can see multiple points on this line, and I do think multiple goals on this line, I do think we're going to see a goal probably out of Knives and out of Austin Matthews. And if that's the case, Marcelli is probably centering both of those. So if you look at, not centering, assisting both of those. So if you look at Marcelli and Knives and Matthews all for a point today, that's coming in at plus 204, parlayed together. Again, Marcelli just for the point or the goal. The point or the assist is where I'd go, not for the goal. Knives and Matthews is where I would go for those goals today. So, yeah, the Blackhawks, they played a good game. That is for sure. They came out. Cole Caulfield is probably still nice on the ice. Oh, you got to love Cole Caulfield. Parlaying Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki, definitely somewhere you want to go. Jay, thank you. You are very nice. Yeah, Knives and Marcelli for the point. That is a great way to go. And I think their point parlayed together will be a nice payout. If the problem is Austin Matthews is so highly juiced. But you look at those two guys, they have a lot to prove. I think Knives will get the goal and Marcelli will get the assist. So, yeah, he was a brick wall. Okay, I'm just 1967. You got it. The last time the Maple Leafs hoisted that cup was 1967. Sometimes back when hockey was invented. Absolutely, it feels like a lifetime ago. And yeah, if you guys could hit that like, that subscribe, and that notification button over here on YouTube, I would greatly appreciate it. And yeah, we feel sorry for all of you Ranger fans out there. It was a hard one for the Rangers. Will Suzuki get an assist? I do think so. So we're going to look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, where I'm looking with that. The parlay combination with Suzuki and Cole Caulfield is another one you want to look at. It made us money last year, you guys. You know that. So the point combination there, Nick Suzuki is minus 178, and Cole Caulfield for the Montreal Canadiens is minus 128. So parlayed together, that gives you plus 118. You're going to get plus money when you start playing around with that market. I do think the power play points is something that we should be looking at for these guys. So Cole Caulfield, so strong on the power play. He's even strong on the shorty, you guys. We did see him have success last year in a couple situations on the shorty. So looking at the power play points, let me just pull it up here. And all the odds I'm giving you guys are from FanDuel today. So Nick Suzuki for the power play points plus 170. Lane Hudson is plus 210. We know Lane Hudson was hugely impactful on the defense. That rookie was absolutely solid. And then you got Cole Caulfield. at plus 260. Now, Noah Dobson looking to make an impact. And I talk about this Montreal team, you guys, and we're going to get into the players to watch here. We're going to do it right away. But you got Demidov. This is going to be his first full season out here for the Montreal Canadiens. I am so excited with what we're going to see out of Demidov. He's plus 340 to be able to get a power play point tonight. I think there's a lot of opportunities on the power play for this Montreal Canadiens team. So let's look at these lineups really quick. Again, I will try to share my page with you guys. And let's see if we have success again sharing this page. So share screen, Montreal Canadiens lineup. Okay. Looks like we're doing it, you guys. Here's the Montreal Canadiens lineup. You got Caulfield on that top line, centered by Suzuki. And then a name that I butcher all the time. So you can see his name, and I'm just not going to throw it out there because every time I try to say it, I get it wrong. So we're just going to pass on it. We got Demidov on the right wing of the second line. We also have Patrick Laine. I really like what we see out of Laine. Left wing of that fourth line. This team has the depth out there. Like I said, lots of young talent that has the ability to be able to really go off in this game, especially in such a rivalry game. So Noah Dobson has been put on that top pairing with Matheson, and I do think it's a solid top pairing. You got Lane Hudson moved down to that second pairing there. And he should be nice and solid again this year. Looking at that top power play, this is where I would look at players for their point combos. You got Nick Suzuki, Caulfield, Lane Hudson, Demidov, and Slavkovsky. I can't say it. You guys, you know I can't say it. So that is your first power play unit. I do think looking at the combos in this one is going to bring you money home. Nick Suzuki, Caulfield, Lane Hudson, and Demidov. Those would be solid players to look at the power play points tonight. I do think they're going to be able to convert on the power play. I think it's a great way to go. So let's get into the players that you... Sorry, I hit the wrong button, you guys. What is wrong with me trying to do the layouts here? I need a producer behind the scenes some days, but that is where I'd go. So the players that I'm going to look at, Caulfield leads the team. Well, he led the team last year. And I do think he's going to be that player again. His power play point today at plus 260 is somewhere I already went. I did take him for the goal at plus 210, but I think parlaying him, Nick Suzuki, and Caulfield together, getting that plus 118 for their point today definitely is a money maker. It's still plus money. Suzuki had 89 points last season. Now Lane Hudson racked up 60 assists on his way of winning that Calder Trophy. So he was absolutely phenomenal. And then Demidov is the other player that I want to watch out there. Okay, so where am I going with the picks in this one? Long story short, you guys, give me the Montreal Canadiens to pull off the upset. I'm taking them straight up on the money line. The Montreal Canadiens have every ability to roll into Toronto and get the win. We're getting the Montreal Canadiens at plus 140 on that money line. Sign me up all day. Now, this is because I have faith in Sam Montague to come out strong to start the season. I also have faith in this young, talented core to be able to convert on the power play tonight. And I do think, even though we're going to see success here out of the Toronto Maple Leafs, that they kind of, overlook the Montreal Canadiens, even though this is a rivalry game. Normally, Montreal is that team that no one expects to really be able to get anywhere to start the season. They come in with the chip on their shoulder.